Thanks for dropping by the channel today. We got a great episode for you, something I've been thinking about a lot, and that is using your camera in automatic mode. It's something I never do. And I'm an all manual guy. I like using T mode, which is time value. And I got to tell you, after using auto exposure and exposure compensation, I found it's not bad. It's an easy way to go. And also using the automatic ISO is also a big help. So that's what this episode is all about. Catch me after the break. If you get a chance, please give me a like, hit the notification bell, sign up for a subscription, and leave a comment. That would be awesome. So really, the purpose of this episode is to help you get control of the automatic features on your camera and help you to really get control with certain techniques I'm going to show you. And I'm going to give you a tip. It's got a lot to do with the command dial. So I'm going to go through that with you right now. I just wanted to get out of the office and let you enjoy a little bit of Rockport Harbor here in the summer. I mean, as you can see, I got a beautiful morning and it's flat, calm, not a lot of wind blowing. It's absolutely beautiful here. So if you get a chance, hey, check out my website, capeannphototours.com, because we're doing tours around Cape Ann, and one of them here is Rockport Harbor in the morning. It's absolutely stunning here. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to change the ISO dial to A, the red A on the top of the X-T3, because that's the camera that we're using today. So first thing we do is go into the wrench menu, and then we go to button dial setting. Then we scroll all the way down to ISO dial setting A, and I set this to command. You can set it to auto, but auto is really the non-control. You have no control at all. The camera does everything. And right now I've got the camera set so that it does everything. It's basically in program mode. But what I'm showing you is how you can have a little bit of control over this camera with it in the auto setting. So I have it set on command, and that controls the command dial in the front and the back. And the way you do that is you go into your menu system again, go to button dial setting, again, here we are, go to command dial setting. Now this shows you the front dial and the back dial. And what I've done is I've set this to F ISO and exposure compensation for the front one, and it changes every time you push it in. I've also got the rear dial set to shutter speed, and I'll show you what that does later. And I'm going to show you how I have this set right now. Since the lens is on A, the camera is set for shutter for an automatic shutter. It's also set for auto ISO. And the way I make this work is I have the top dial for exposure compensation. I have that set to C, and that's so I can control it with my front dial. See how I'm controlling with my front dial my exposure compensation. Now if I push that in, you will see down in the bottom right hand corner there underneath ISO A1, that's auto 1. There's 3 automatic settings for auto ISO. Now I can change my ISO to one of these 3 automatic settings. So now if we want to control the 3 auto ISO settings, which you are able to control therefore with your command dial, is we go to the camera icon and we go down here to ISO auto setting in the shooting setting menu. Now auto 1, you can see you get another menu off of that, and now we can change the default sensitivity. Is going to go from 160 ISO 160 to a max sensitivity of 800. Now you can set the minimum shutter speed here, and I have it set to auto. So let's say I want to make sure that I don't shoot any lower than a 15th of a second. I can set that. I'm going to go down to auto 2, And I have this set from 160 to 1600. And I also have the minimum shutter speed set to auto. So we're going to bring that back up to a 15th of a second. And then we're going to get on to auto 3. And you can see it's from 160 to 3200. And I'm also going to change the minimum shutter speed to 15th of a second. So that's how you change your 3 auto ISO settings. I'm going to set it to A1, and that will give me the lower ISOs here. As if you look in the bottom left-hand corner here, under just above the shutter speed notification, there's a little wheel there. So that's telling me that my rear control dial is controlling my shutter speed. So as you can see, I'm controlling my shutter speed and bringing the f-stop up by doing so. So this is giving you complete control in automatic mode, which is kind of interesting to me. So that's how that's controlled. I've got to tell you, I really am enjoying using an auto mode. I'm going to put this on F8, see what that looks like. Now you can see we get a preview here. What you see is what you get at F8. Look at that. That's kind of cool. So let's go up to F11 and see what that looks like. Oh, that's nice. So that looks really nice. Let's try one at F11, see what that looks like. So this is F11. You can see how nice that is. Look how much is in focus. That's pretty nice. Maybe even control my exposure a little bit more with exposure compensation. So let's push this button in on the front. It's going to change that to exposure compensation. So let's go down to, I'm going to put that at 3/4 of a stop. Maybe not. Maybe let's go up to 1/4 of a stop. See if that looks better. That's looking pretty nice. So here we go with exposure compensation set at 1/3, and let's see what it looks like on full. So this is without any exposure compensation. This is at 1/3. I kind of like the one that's a little bit underexposed. So as you can see, we now, even though the camera is totally automatic, we have control of our ISO and exposure compensation with the front command dial just by pushing it in and out. And then on the rear control dial, we have that set to control our shutter speed, which in turn controls the f-stop because everything's in automatic. So this is pretty incredible if you think about it. The camera is in total program mode, but oh no, you have control over everything just with the dials on the front and the back of the camera. Pretty interesting, and that's one of the features that Fuji has added to everything here, and I think it's a great feature. So I'm not advocating trying to use program mode or auto everything. What I'm trying to do is give you some demonstrations of how this all works. And I think what you should try and do is use aperture priority for landscapes and stuff, and use shutter priority for things where you want trying to stop the action like sports or other things. And these were just examples of how to use your Fujifilm X cameras. So that's it for today's episode, and just wanted to show you a little bit about how I use automatic exposure mode on my Fujifilm camera. And I hope you like the way I handled it. Other people handle it differently, but I have it set up for a different way. And if you wouldn't mind, please give me a thumbs up, a like, and subscribe to the channel and leave a comment. That would be awesome. And so that's it for this week from Rockport Harbor, and it's beautiful here. Oh, by the way, check out my website, capeandphototours.com. That would be awesome. That's it for this week, and we'll catch you next time.